You see the face, you know the case. It's your boy LQ, Mr. Real Deal Fantasy HQ, and welcome to another great episode of RotoBaller Fantasy Sports. I know your tummy is full of ham and turkey, but it's time to get back to business because the fantasy playoffs are essentially around the corner. They're basically here, so you need to start making the right decisions and putting yourself in position to bring home the gold. So I'm going to go over a bunch of defenses that I really like, defenses I don't like, and some defenses that have some favorable matchups. So this is basically going to be a strength of schedule episode. So please pay attention, get your notepad out. Let's get right into the episode. So I want to start off by saying you're going to start your obvious stud defenses you've been starting all season. The Ravens, the Browns, the 49ers, and the Dallas Cowboys, etc., etc. I don't really need to get into them and their schedule for the playoffs because it's just way too risky of benching them and trying to get cute and putting any other defense there because you've been riding with it all season. Why not ride until the wheels fall off? So obviously you're going to start them. The high ability for them to create turnovers and get sacks. The points are there. You don't want to leave points on the table with them on your bench. So moving on to some defenses that I think you should 100% fade for the playoffs. It's only a few, only three defenses really that I think you should stand clear. The Raiders are the most notable ones because I've had them in episodes as a must start for a couple of weeks back because they have the ability to put points on the board, but only when they're going against weak teams that have a bad O-line where they can pin their ears back and get after the quarterback and get some sacks. But you're going up against the Chargers, the Chiefs. Those are your two first round and second round offenses you're going to go up against with the Raiders in your starting lineup. I don't like it. Two division games back to back as well. And then they finish up with Indy. They're a clear fade for me as well. The Titans, I don't like the Titans either, man. Going up against CJ Stroud twice, which is crazy. The first round, and then they clean up with them in the championship. So the Titans have been a notable defense that I've been seeing fluctuate between the waiver wire and onto people's rosters. I just don't want you to get cute here, thinking that you could stop the Texans for whatever reason, because CJ Stroud is playing really good football, and he's possibly going to break some records again. I don't think he's done yet. MVP, Offensive Rookie of the Year, whatever you want to be, fade the Titans. Now, move on to some defenses that kind of have some rocky first and second round, matchups where I don't want to get cute at. And the Bills are one of them. Like, the Bills are a defense that honestly I should have included in start regardless, but I'm kind of on the fence with them, man, because when I look at their schedule and then when I look at who they played, they really haven't played anybody, man, this season. I mean, they played the Bengals, they played the Dolphins, two offenses that are known to be high power or good. Now, the Bengals, they're in between this season, but only the Dolphins really are a high-power offense that they face this year. Now, you're looking at all these other matchups, you're like, they really didn't play anybody to be a threat. So it's like you face the first round, you got the Cowboys in the first round, Chargers in the second round, and then you clean up with the Patriots. That's all fine and dandy, but the Bills, man, they really haven't had that test to that defense to where I feel comfortable throwing them in the starting lineups against the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, they're a stud defense all season long, but I think this is a gamble. Now, I want to say basically didn't play anybody, but against winning opponents, they only have 4 takeaways, and that's 22nd in the NFL right now. So you got to look at this Bills defense as a gamble going into the playoffs. Why not pivot to another team? Not saying to drop the Bills, but keep the Bills. Why not load up another defense like the Packers, who have a favorable matchup in the first 2 rounds? They had the Bucks, they had the Panthers. Now, this defense, they made some midseason adjustments, man, and you got to look at this Packers team. They're a top 5 defense right now when it comes to points allowed since week 5. So that midseason adjustment for them has been amazing. Now, they're not the team known for sacks or takeaways, but you could sprinkle in some sacks and takeaways. It's not like there's none. It's just that they're not on the top of the board ever since week 5. Now, again, you got the Bucks and the Panthers. These are teams that are averaging less than 20 points per game right now. So you got the Packers as a good maintain the points, like 7 points. I'm happy if the Packers get me in the first round of the playoffs, maybe even 10 points against these 2 teams that just cannot score. So again, you got a team like the Bills on your roster that you've been riding with all season. I think the Packers will be a nice little plug and play there to ride with you if you're a little bit questionable in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Because again, playoffs, 1 round elimination in most leagues. You make the wrong decision, there you go. You're out of the playoffs. This entire season was a waste. So the Packers are a nice defense that you could pick up, put in place of the Bills. But like I said, don't drop the Bills. I'll just be a little bit questionable. I'll be a little bit on the fence about starting them in starting lineups. Now to get into some teams that I think have some favorable matchups, a good matchup, a good strong schedule as well. This is a list of teams that I think you should be targeting off the waiver wire or should feel very comfortable in your starting lineup. But I want to talk about the Houston Texans, man. They're a team that are highly available to you on the waiver wire as well. Nice little plug and play defense that can maintain the points. You don't have to worry about losing a bunch of points because looking at their schedule, man, it's a very favorable schedule when you got the Titans, the Browns, and then the Titans again. These are all run heavy offenses, and they're not offenses that are going out there scoring a bunch of points. Now, with them being a run heavy offense, you're looking at this Texans defense as well. They're allowing less than 100 rushing yards per game this season versus last year when they were just getting ate up on the ground. It's a completely night and day defense of what they have going on in Houston. So you have an offense that's doing their part with CJ Stroud going down there scoring points. So it's not like you have an exhausted a defense that's going back on the field after 3 series, and it's just like, man, you have a good balanced team. So I like the Texans in the playoffs as a nice little plug and play. And I swear I'm not being a homer with this next team. It's the Rams I want to talk about right now. I mean, the Commanders, Saints, and Giants, it's a very favorable matchup. The Commanders, I got them marked as yellow here just because they're basically an unpredictable offense. I mean, Sam Howell, he can go out there and sling it. He can go out there and surprise a lot of people. He surprised the Seahawks, so I'm not going to exclude my Rams. But again, you're looking for defenses that could be valuable to you during the playoffs, in the playoffs, whatever the case may be. And you got the Saints that are dealing with some quarterback issues as well. Derek Carr injured. I don't know if he'll be available 4 weeks from now when you see this video, or if you're watching it now, whatever the case may be, but he's banged up. I like the Giants. Obviously, they're not scoring many points per game right now, so that's a great matchup as well to clean up in the championship. Now, the Rams have been able to eat against teams that have weak O-lines. These three teams, the Commanders, Saints, and Giants, they're top 6 in the most sacks allowed this season so far, the season that you're watching this. But I really feel as though this is where they get their bread and butter at. The Rams have ability to get after the quarterback against weak O-line, so therefore there's points on the board available to you with the Rams in your starting lineups. Now, this wraps up another great episode of RotoBaller Fantasy Sports YouTube channel. Please make sure you guys like and subscribe. What's more important is that now that you see this video is out now, leave a comment below on your start and sit questions up until the championship round. This video will be good for you all throughout the playoffs, so I'll try to answer your questions all the way into the end. I'm going to be riding with you in the playoffs to make sure these defenses are doing their part, make sure I'm doing my part to stay accountable, and try to give you advice in live time as the weeks go on about these defenses. So make sure you guys follow me on all social media platforms at Real Deal Fantasy. Until next time.